Tribal House Network.
Hello?
I know who you are, and you are nothing. You think you are fucking something, but you are fucking nothing. You are empty, you are a zero, you are a black hole, and I'm gonna fuck you so bad you're gonna be coming out of your ears.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of the Cinema Enema podcast. Zach and I are here to flush the shit out of your personal taste. Zach, I'm going to make that take off. I'm going to keep saying it until it's memorable. But episode 2, obviously the first go around, we did my choice, which was Blade Runner, the final cut. And today, unfortunately, I have to do Zach's choice. He made me sit through this piece of shit.
Fuck you. This is the greatest movie of all time.
So it wasn't a piece of shit, right? It kept you engaged, but I felt fucking disgusted and just dirty watching it.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, though. We're not supposed to talk about the movie yet.
Yeah. Anyway, so fuck yeah, we're not supposed to do that because first, this bullshit podcast, we talk about the news bits and what's on our fucking minds before we get into the film of the hour.
But this guy here, he went to London for a while, and he watched a bunch of movies, and I thought we should talk about those movies and what I've been watching first before we even get to the news, babe.
Okay, so we'll do movies first. I like Zach said, I spent a good almost month in the UK between England and Ireland, and I caught a few flicks. And obviously the key ones, I watched that Jordan Peele movie, Us. That was a fucking train wreck in my opinion. I thought it was, I mean, I don't know what the reviews are saying. I don't really follow reviews and shit like that. I mean, I know I see ads and stuff for Rotten Tomatoes calling it the greatest movie ever made. Those hype trains I just can't get behind. But I liked his first one. I liked Get Out all right. You know, I think we've mentioned before that to me it just felt like a glorified episode of like the Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt or something. I mean, it's pretty clear where he gets his inspirations. I mean, the guy's hosting the Twilight Zone, reboot. So, but it was fun, and it wasn't necessarily like an idea that hasn't been. It seems like an idea you would know better, like Twilight Zone, but it seems like an idea that's in a way been done before, and maybe he kind of put his own twist on it.
New Twilight Zone premiered today or last night. I still haven't seen either episode.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of celebrities and stuff to do episodes too, right? Like there's the one guy, I don't know his name. He's that Pakistani comedian. Seth Rogen's in a new upcoming episode.
Yeah, there's a couple people. I saw that.
Yeah, but anyway, so I liked his first movie all right. This one was so vanilla. It was literally the first scene before the title card even hits. You see the twist coming a mile away. This one's extremely predictable. Not that the first movie wasn't predictable in places, but to me, he did a fake out in Get Out. Like he kind of gets you going like, okay, I think I know the twist, but then he psychs you out like you're wrong. And then he hits you with a twist, but then the twist you initially thought does end up coming back around and it still surprises you just because he convinces you you're wrong. That's how I took the movie. This one is so laid out for you. I mean, literally before the title card hits, you know the fucking twist. And even me, I'm thinking, all right, it can't be this obvious. It can't be this obvious. It's going to be something else. No, it's that obvious. And it's not that casual folks aren't going to enjoy it. I'm pretty sure most people who don't really want to think about a movie are liking it just fine. But even for that sort of enjoyment, like at least scare me and with popcorn and all, I wasn't even scared. Even if I wanted to watch it as an empty thriller, there was way too much comic relief in this one. In the first movie, if I recall, most of the comic relief was regulated to the friend, right? That was, not in the house and he was trying to find his buddy. And that worked because every time it cut back to the main character dealing with his terror or whatever, it was a nice contrast. This movie, I swear to God, it's the husband of the family's comic relief, their son, their daughter, even the main chick every now and again cracks a joke. They got these white friends that are like a, couples thing. both the guy and the woman are fucking cracking jokes all the time. So I can't even get enjoyment out of that. Never once does it creep me out. And it didn't creep me out just because it's just too lighthearted. What else? But but the biggest problem with it to me was the fact that he broke what I think is the number one rule, cardinal sin you don't do. If you're a filmmaker, you establish the rules of your universe that you've crafted, and then you stay consistent with it. This guy didn't do it. One person's doing something that another person can't do for some reason. This guy can pull it off. It's just bullshit. It's a lot of self-serving things that happen in this script that, I guess that they're an attempt to scare you, but they don't make any fucking sense. None of it adds up, and it's ridiculous. And there's a whole lot of underlining plot things that are never explored. They never come back to. Like, I don't know if you've seen the trailers, how there's like an emphasis on rabbits.
I haven't.
There's this thing with rabbits, and you think he's gonna go somewhere with it, right? Kind of like, it reminds me of the fucking retarded Halloween 2 White Horse bullshit. But this one's probably even worse because he plants rabbits in there, but you can tell that they fucked it up and they tried to save it in the editing process, right? To make something salvageable, because there's so many things that are never answered. Like, okay, what is that supposed to mean? That never got answered. There was never this. And I watched reviews of the damn movie, and there's some apologists, right, that are trying to make it more complex than it is, like trying to create like undertones to the flick for the elite thinkers and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like they come off like it's like Vox and Vice, these shill websites, And you ever realize that? You ever see that where there's certain people that are so hyped up where even when they release bullshit, some apologists are going to dig into it so much and they're going to create their own.
Every Star Wars movie, every Marvel movie.
No, well, not even that. I mean, those movies, even the people that like Marvel movies know they're super followed by a formula and they're very basic. But no, like movies like this, like you have a band like Radiohead or even a guy like Jordan Peele now. They set up a reputation for themselves, and I'm just saying a movie like this, he puts it out and to me makes no fucking sense, and I see just the shitty filmmaking and the mistakes that probably they made along the way. And you have apologists that are trying to make something out of nothing, right? Well, when he did this, it clearly meant this, and when he did, like, no, I don't think so. I think you're creating that, and I think he just was trying to fucking fix a shitstorm.
You just don't get it, bro. You just don't get it.
It's that whole thing. I mean, if I don't get it, somebody tell me, because I read articles after this movie of people trying to break shit down for me. And I'm like, where the fuck are you pulling that out from? And if that is, then the only way you know about these underlining themes is if you had Jordan Peele on speed dial and he had to explain it to you.
Here's the thing. Everybody loves Get Out. I thought it was just decent. I'd say it's about a 6 out of 10.
I don't love Get Out. I liked Get Out. I think it's a 7 out of 10. It's solid. It's like I said, it's literally a good episode of fucking Tales from the Crypt. That's it. And they somehow stretch that out to however long the feature runtime was.
It's close to a 7 for me, but it didn't quite get there. A 6.5 probably.
I'll tell you this much. That movie actually flowed well. This one is so fucking long where there's just not enough story to satisfy how long they made the movie. Like, it's just too thin. I'm not saying I'm not saying the concept they were going for was bad, but man, that fucking needed to be no longer than an hour, to be honest with you. They didn't have enough for a feature. And dude, when you see the twist of this fucking movie, the whole big reveal scene, like the exposition they have where, one person is explaining everything to the other person, there's a bunch of what the fuck moments. Like, okay, there's no reason it would have waited all the way up until this moment for them to reveal this to the other person. Like, they've been with each other alone a million times up to this point. Why are they doing it now? Why? Because it serves the shitty twist at the right time. It's so fucking stupid. It actually offends me. It actually offends me. Because I think he's a one-trick pony. And that officially makes him a one-trick pony to me. But I want you to see it. I know Mac from Mac and Zach Save the World. He saw it. I don't remember what he said. Did he say it was okay?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not to insult Mac. I love Mac. But he's kind of a basic movie watcher, wouldn't you say? like casual.
He's a basic bitch.
Yeah, But anyway, so that's that one. I spent a lot of time talking about that. I don't want to give any more attention to that piece of shit. Suspiria Remake was the other one I watched.
I watched that too.
Did you watch it in the last couple weeks?
No, I watched it back whenever it first before it even came out officially. Actually,
dude, I weirdly and oddly surprised at how much I liked it. And I mean, I was talking to you in private when my buddy and I, he got it off, online, and we were asking you, like, dude, is this supposed to not have the other two languages subtitled, right? Because they speak French, and what's the other language? Italian or something? I don't fucking know. Can't remember. But it's like everything was fine, but whenever somebody would be speaking one of those other two foreign languages, there was no subtitles, and I'm like, is this another
Did you watch the whole movie without subtitles?
We did. And you know what?
What a tard.
Dude, well, we didn't really have any. We were already too deep into it. Well, Josh James of R-Rated Horror, we asked him and he answered before you did when we got started. And he said, yeah, it's supposed to be like that.
And you believed that fuck up?
Which just tells you how many people are fucking torrenting movies and getting the same fucking files and they think it's normal. Mm-hmm. Right? But anyway, but you could have honestly fooled me a little bit. We were kind of scratching our heads because this movie was so avant-garde. It wouldn't have surprised us if that was like his intention, right?
Yeah, so you probably missed all the fucking there's some weird political thing going on the radio throughout the whole movie.
We missed all of that shit. So the whole movie, we're totally scratching our heads, but we still were captivated. Like every scene in it was so cool. There was something cool going on visually or whatever, to where even though we wouldn't really get what was going on fully, it was still enjoyable. And then by the time they got to the third act, especially the whole coven reveal scene and all that stuff, it was so visually pleasing, even though there was some, if you can imagine, we missed a lot of the information with those subtitles. So there was a lot of what the fuck moments, even in that last scene, but it was so visually appealing. We didn't care. Then afterwards, of course, when you informed us that, yeah, it's supposed to be subtitled, I kind of looked online to fill in the gaps of what I missed. And now I want to watch it again with subtitles, but now I get it. Now I got the whole story, and yeah, it just confirmed that we missed a shit ton with those subtitles being gone, but it's still good. I was pleasantly, it looked beautiful. Dude, it might even be better than the original.
I want to watch it again. I walked away being in the middle of the road with it.
Really?
Yeah.
One thing I didn't get at first when I was watching the movie, I didn't get why Tilda Swinton played so many characters, right?
Yeah, why the fuck was she that old guy? Like, did they not want us to know that was clearly a fucking chick?
It was pretty obvious.
She didn't even try to sound manly at all. She just had a woman's voice.
Well, and I wonder if the ADR stuff for that, if they dropped it down even a semitone to be a little deeper, right? Or you think they could have, right?
I don't know, yeah.
But regardless, the first couple of scenes where they showed him, I was telling my buddy Randall, I was like, it's a pretty decent makeup job, but there's something wrong with that guy. Is this another Felicia Rose thing? You know?
What do you think of that guy, Aaron? What do you think of that guy?
But anyway, by the second or third scene I said, dude, that's a chick. There's a chick in there. And then I put it together. It was Tilda Swinton. But then I had no idea until I read the credits or afterwards that she also played the leader of the coven, the big fat ugly fucking sore-ridden, chick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she played her too. But then I had to look that up online, and I guess there was a reason for it. It was basically, sexism undertones and Me Too bullshit. And basically there's only one that even the one real main man character in the whole movie was still played by a woman, right? It's something to do with that, some kind of fucking shit. But whatever, they had a reason. But yeah, I really liked it. Go ahead and you take a movie, man. I don't want to take them all.
Last night I watched Nocturnal Animals. You watched that?
Mm-mm.
It's pretty good. Fucking Jake Gyllenhaal and who else was in it? Amy Adams. It was about like all of a sudden she gets from her old husband, she gets a transcript of a book he wrote. And like, there's like two timelines going on where she's reading it, and she's kind of visualizing the characters in the book as their family and stuff before they broke up, and yeah, it's like a fucking thriller. The story is, but like you find out throughout the movie that she was an asshole to him, like, oh yeah, you got us to get a real job, bitch. Your books aren't paying the bills, bitch, and all this stuff. It was pretty good.
Is it streaming anywhere that people can watch it easily?
No.
They're gonna have to do the work, huh?
Yeah.
So the other movie that I watched, it was a long time coming. Zach's been on my ass about it. I finally caught Blue Ruin.
What'd you think of that? It's only been like 3 or 4 years since I told you to watch that.
I really liked it. It was, and I went into it this whole time not knowing what it was about. I'd never even bothered to read a synopsis for it or not. And the title itself is so fucking vague. You have no idea what it entails. So I'm glad I went into it like that though, because I had no idea it was a revenge movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was really done well. And you know, if it's to be believed, the tiny budget they had, they did such a good job.
You gotta watch Green Room now, his other movie.
Yeah, and we got that in Vudu, so I'm going to check that out next for sure. But I really like that, and if they have a good Blu-ray release of Blue Ruin, I'll definitely buy it. I doubt a flick like that will get a 4K release, huh? But
yeah, fun fact: the guy that was the star in Blue Ruin, he's also one of the stars in Green Room. He was hired to write and direct the Toxic Avenger reboot recently,
and that's been in developmental hell off and on, off and on. Is that back on again?
Looks like it.
You remember about 3 or 4 years ago when Arnold Schwarzenegger was cast?
Yeah.
And then it died again, and he was off again, and that's interesting.
He also wrote and directed the Netflix movie I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore.
He's a very unlikely starring lead, right?
Yeah.
And,
just average Joe.
Well, and
your average homeboy.
That's part of what makes it works, because you have this guy that's getting revenge, and he's sort of a nerdy guy, unsuspecting, geeky, fragile type of dude. So it was a total win. And the fact that not only do they cast Buzz from Home Alone in, which I knew that, you had mentioned that, I believe, way back in the day, and he was hard to miss. I was telling my buddy, I'm like, yeah, Buzz is in this. And he's like, really? And he loved the movie. He was telling me I had to watch it, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, how'd you not miss Buzz? How'd you miss Buzz? I mean, he's fucking still likes like Buzz to a degree. He was good. And the fact that I'm assuming she was the oldest sister of the family was Eve Plum, Jam Brady from the original Brady Bunch TV show. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That doesn't exactly spell dollar signs there. You cast Eve Plum in your movie, but it is really good. I really liked it.
I don't know which one I like better. Blue Ruin's really good, but Green Room, like, it's got the extra benefit of being about a punk band that's touring.
And don't ruin any more for me, because I want to go into that as blind as possible. I know Green Room. I know there's some now you just mentioned some kind of music themed punk band. I heard isn't there some white supremacy type shit like undertone?
You just told me not to tell you anything.
Well, don't tell me anything. I want to go into it blind. I'm going to watch it real soon. I will ask you this though. I'm sure it got a little bit bigger of a budget. Does it show in the Green Room?
I think they're about the same, maybe.
Maybe all that extra budget just went to hiring Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, baby.
Rock on. So what else have you watched?
I after our first episode, I watched Blade Runner, the sequel.
Oh yeah, I still got to see that.
And I liked it.
You liked it better than the original, right? I
did.
Interesting. The buddy I was watching all these movies with, he said he didn't like the sequel.
Really?
He said he liked it, even not as much as the first one. And I think he even was telling me that, because I told him I am so sick of Jared Leto, and he's like, he's barely in the movie. He's like, he was used as marketing bait. He was telling me that he's barely in the movie.
Yeah.
And his scenes probably could have just been fucking cut altogether. But
he's kind of the villain.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch that. I wish we had that in Vudu. Because I kind of want to watch that before I just blind buy it, just because I don't really care for the first one.
Did you blind bought that?
What? I did. Well, I blind bought it because I really wanted to like it and I want to give it a fair shake, and I got it on sale. But now that I still don't really care for it, I can't be pressed to buy the 2049 or whatever it's called. And I really don't like Ryan Gosling, man. I really don't. I don't know why. He seems like a nice guy. He seems like a real cool dude.
He was in episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I know he was, but is he supposed to be a good actor? Because he's got this less is more type of vibe, but I don't think he's doing enough. He doesn't like to talk in his movies very much. It's like ever since he did Drive, he's trying to do that with every movie. Because does he have a lot of dialogue in the new 2049?
He's kind of like Deckard in the original.
Yeah, he's doing that a lot. So I mean, he must got a look that everybody wants to throw money at or something. Because I don't get his actual acting talent.
He's got a face you just want to shoot a fat ass nut on.
Oh, speaking of that, we'll get to that when we get to this fucking movie. The topic, fuck me, man. So, last movie I watched that I only watched this English movie called The Kill List. That was
it like The Fuck List?
No, it was a very interesting movie because it literally changes tone throughout the whole, and intentionally. Like when it first comes on, I went into it. He's like, "Here, let's watch The Kill List," my buddy. And I didn't know what it was about or anything. And the first part of the movie, it plays off like a drama. It's like, you think it's like a drama. Like everything's toned and set that way, and about a married couple, like, okay, and happy it's really odd. But then it turns into like a hitman, violent, like real brutal, like, okay. And it changes quickly. And then by the third act, it turns into a fucked up, weird cult, almost horror thing. And it's clearly intentional, and it's kind of it was decent. I mean, I'd say it's a solid 6 or 7 out of 10, but it was a decent watch.
Nice. I watched Rain Man for the first time.
Oh yeah?
You ever watch it?
Oh, with Dustin Hoffman, yeah. Way back in the day.
I liked it.
Sometimes I confuse it with The Rainmaker.
Yeah, I actually had a retard exploitation. I watched Of Mice and Men and Rain Man back to back.
Oh, did you watch Radio?
No.
Didn't make it? Did you watch I Am Sam?
That's so mean. I said retard exploitation. That's not nice.
No, it's not. You know what else isn't nice? This movie you made me watch that we'll talk about here in a bit. But
this movie's great. It's nice.
All right. Lastly, Zach and I both watched Dragged Across Concrete. I always want to say Dragged Across Concrete, but we both watched that. We're not going to talk too much about that because are we pretty much in agreement that we're going to do a Cinema Enema for that with River?
If they watch it and want to do it, yeah.
River's supposed to watch it. He was supposed to watch it this week, and hopefully we'll rope him into doing this with us. But you watched it and I watched it, and that's at least good enough because I do want to talk about it. And I think that should just be sort of a bonus one, unplanned. Because I'm interested to talk about it. And that's honestly one I might want to record sooner than later just because it's fresh in mind, Zach. We'll probably do that within a week of this. So we'll leave that for that. And last thing, like a lot of people, I watched Leaving Neverland, which is a documentary, I know.
And I did too, baby.
And that thing is so all over the place. You watch the first part and you're like, wow, these guys are just apologists for their own supposed abuser, and they got their poker faces on. Then in the second one, they kind of like trying to throw on the emotions and crocodile tears. The younger of the two, the dancer guy, he seemed weird the whole movie. Like he didn't seem very phased, and he kind of kept up that whole the way he spoke of him was almost like a scorned lover. You know what I mean? Not like a guy who abused him. It was because he kept talking in adoration and how much he loved. It was really fucking weird. The other guy, the actor from the Pepsi commercial, he seemed a little bit more fucked up, I guess. But I don't know, man. The thing is you got to ask yourself, what do they have to gain by lying? Hypothetically, I'm not saying don't take it seriously, but hypothetically, you always have to ask in every case, what does party B or A have to gain if they were being dishonest? And I get it. The legal system says you get restitution, right? If you're not seeking any kind of money, the lawyers are going to ensure that you're going to get some money, so they get some money. It's just kind of part of it. And I don't want to say seeking money from the estate doesn't validate their claims like any less, because I mean, if somebody fucked my asshole when I was a kid and fucked me up, the damage is done. I'm gonna at least get fucking paid, right?
Yeah, I want it all in one so I can make it rain all over the bitch's tits.
But I don't know, man. I mean, you can't. It's hard to shake the whole fact that the FBI did their thorough investigation and found nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, I did find out. Technically, that's when we found out that, he was sleeping with those kids at the same bed, which is fucking weird.
Well, that's always been a known fact. Like that, That's always been out in the open that he slept in the same bed with kids. That's what started this whole thing.
I think we gave him too much of a pass for that. Like, who else would we, but it's okay when he does it because he had a weird shot at, okay.
I agree, dude, 100%. The thing is everybody keeps trying to dissect this documentary and compare Michael Jackson to his habits to the habits of your garden variety fucking pedophile. But the thing is you can't compare Michael Jackson to a garden variety pedophile because nobody is like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson has Neverland Ranch. He's the biggest pop star in the world.
Yeah, there are people that grew up with similar childhoods to Michael Jackson, though. And last thing I heard, fucking Corey Feldman isn't sleeping with 7-year-olds.
No, well, we don't know. I'm just kidding. No, but what I'm saying is you can't necessarily compare him to the other pedophiles out there and the way their behavior is all the way because he is a unique case. No one else was like Michael Jackson. But then again, because he had all that shit, he was set up to groom if he wanted to hardcore because he was unsuspecting. I mean, if the documentary's to be believed, he groomed the parents like a motherfucker. And you have to think the parents are definitely to blame some, right? Because I get it. They had starry eyes too. Like, oh, it's Michael Jackson. He's not going to do anything. Yeah, you can sleep in the same bed as my kid. Sure, have him open his little butthole cheeks and fucking jerk off on him. That's fine. But I have to believe that if he's guilty, I mean, we'll never know. To me, at this point, it's a coin flip. It's 50-50. I don't know. But if he did it, he was so methodical in his grooming of the parents that, you know, like in the documentary, they describe, he would integrate himself as almost like one of their kids. You know, he'd call the mother on the phone and spend hours talking on the phone with her. He would call up the little boys and talk to them like they were friends in elementary school, which is really fucking weird. And then he would have sleepovers. He was all about that slow game. So that mixed with him being the king of pop and he's the king of pop. He would never do that, right? He's whatever. I think. And then he would get to a point where once he established himself in the families with that trust, then he would start doing the shit like paying off their mortgages, right? And giving them money. I think at that point, even when it's too far gone, the parents, they have to know something might be up. But at that point, he's paid off their mortgages. He's done all this shit for them. I would think that maybe some of those parents just intentionally ignored it and put it in the back of their mind, right? Even if they had an inkling, right? Yeah. Because this guy's our gravy train type of thing.
It's like, it's like that scene where the lady's like, oh yeah, I went in there, saw them laying in the same bed. I never thought anything. And I was thinking about it. It's like, even if you did, like, you probably wouldn't even admit that you did. Because then if you admit that you thought about it and didn't do anything on the documentary, it's like, then I look worse. I better just say I never even thought about it. Not just, I thought about it, but then I immediately shrugged it off because.
But the mom, I mean, think about it. It's like, by the time you might start getting your suspicions when he's isolating your boy further and further away from you. Like I said, at that point, he's paid off all your debt. He's paid your mortgages. He's helped you come to America. I mean, he's pretty much, it's like puppet strings. He's pretty much, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's got so much on you and he's done so much for you. I think subconsciously you wouldn't want that bread roll to fucking stop. I don't know. It's just this weird manipulation game. It's just crazy. I don't think it's unlike abusive husbands or whatever, you know, that or abusive people that provide a lot of shit and they get away with doing heinous shit. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think he did it? Just coin flip? We'll never know.
I don't know. Yeah.
What's the point though? I mean, like, I get it. If they really were molested by him, then I get what they'd have to gain. You know, they don't want someone having this amazing. Would you want the person that raped you and molested you and fucked your childhood up to be regarded as like this amazing, amazing person? No, you'd probably want to see him burn. And not to mention, I imagine for a normal victim from just like an everyday occurrence, it's hard enough getting over that shit with therapy. I mean, even if you move across the fucking country where you can just distance yourself from anything you're still going to be dealing with that shit every day. Think about if your abuser, once again, he's not like anybody else. You can't compare him to anybody else. You're never going to escape Michael Jackson. You're trying to move on with your life and you go to fucking Walmart anywhere in the world and you see his fucking CDs everywhere. You know what I mean? It's a constant reminder. He's Michael Jackson. So if he did it, I could see why they'd want to do it. But still though, I mean, what are you going to do? that all you can do is tarnish your reputation. You know, he was tried and he's dead. There's nothing you could do as far as justice goes. And then at this point, you're also just kind of hurting the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because his whole family, of course, is pissed, and his kids. I read somewhere that his daughter attempted suicide in the wake of all this. I mean, I don't know. You'd have to take a long, hard look in the mirror and just say, like, is it worth it at the end? I don't know. It's a weird fucking gray area. But anyway, that's pretty dire. Do you want to get into the news?
Yeah, baby.
The biggest thing is Mark Hamill voicing Chucky. What?
Yeah. I still don't care about it.
No, I think that doesn't help the movie. I think the movie still looks like a basic bitch, piece of fluff.
I think all this is going to do is ensure that 10 years from now, even if the movie's shitty, people are still going to be, that movie wasn't that bad, though, just like they do with, the Nightmare on Elm Street.
Well, I think, okay, they do that with Nightmare on Elm Street? Some people?
Yeah, there's these people that are like, yeah, but fucking Jackie Earle Haley, though. He was the actor that played Freddy, and he was good.
No, so
he made it watchable.
I think it's a very, very good move from them from a marketing standpoint, right?
So does that mean that it's not going to show Charles Lee Ray in a movie? Or is somebody going to be playing a stunt body, and he's just going to do the voice?
Yeah, because they act like they cast him after the fact just for ADR, right? Because I think the movie's long since. I could see that being a case, and who knows? They might have, whatever actor they got, they might have overdubbed his lines with Mark Hamill at that point too. I don't know, or they might even ditch that shit altogether. Like, for all we know, that's not even. Is that still the same plot point where he's
maybe he's just an AI in this one? Yeah,
I think it is. I haven't heard anything about a Charles Lee Ray type of character.
If I had to reboot the movie, I probably would just make him an AI.
So, but I think it's not going to help the movie be good, but I think it does lend some credibility, and it's going to help him make money and secure some box office. So, like I said, when I read that, I'm like, good move for them, because I think there's a lot. I'm not one of them, but I think there's a lot of people who might have been scratching their heads at the reveal of this movie, and now are like curious, right? Well, now I'll go see it, because I mean, he's kind of the voice actor. Mark Hamill. Mm-hmm. The nerds fucking love Mark Hamill.
The nerd cum was shooting fucking rapidly that day when they announced that.
Seriously, I mean, because dude, he's probably loved more for playing the fucking Joker than Luke Skywalker at this point. People love him as a voice actor. So, like I said, it was a great move for them. I don't think it'll make or break the movie, but it is what it is.
Did you see that brand new Child's Play remake poster though?
Yes. The new one or the first? I saw the shitty one.
The new one where he's in the elevator and there's hands coming out above him, and it makes no fucking sense.
I don't think I saw that.
It's fucking terrible. It looks like, is this a zombie movie? What is happening here?
So what do you think the chances are, though? I mean, you're going to see it, right? We're going to see it. We have to watch it.
I'm going to see it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to see it. I know Mac will see it. So we'll have to do some kind of I guess it's appropriate for Cinema Enema, any of these new movies that aren't like released, to do a commentary. Probably perfect. But what do you think the odds are that it won't be the worst movie in the series, right? Because there's a couple of shitty movies in the series.
It's part 3 still gonna be better than it.
Okay, it's gonna be better than Seed, right?
You hate part 3. We got to do a retrospective someday.
Look, so maybe I'm being too hard on it. I guess I don't hate it. I don't like it. I think it's a very, very bland movie. It's a bland sequel, and it is shit compared to part 1 and 2.
How could you not like a fucking a doll replacing fucking paintball bullets with real bullets? Because that happens. That's possible.
Yeah, it's totally stupid, man. The movie's fucking ridiculous.
And even the paintballs, whenever he takes them out, they look like just normal bullets, but they have like a green or a blue tip on them or something. It's like, how the fuck does that work?
And Andrew Robinson entertaining himself by cutting the hair of a doll and talking to it when no one's watching him.
That's fucking genius.
It's ridiculous, man.
It's amazing.
So there's that. And we mentioned it earlier. You mentioned the Freddy remake. I just read an article today where the writer blames the director for fucking up his script. Okay, whatever he's got to tell himself. I doubt that script had much going for it before it was, tainted.
Fucking Samuel Bear of the Bear Aspirin Corporation.
And he directed a lot of videos back in the day. He was popular in the 90s.
Music videos, that's who you go to when you want to make a movie. You're just like, who makes music videos?
Well, they do that and they get them cheap, but somebody that knows what they're doing. He directed the fucking Sweet Dreams video, maybe even The Beautiful People, and then he directed Until It Sleeps, and he directed Heart Shaped Box. And if you've seen all those videos, they all have that same aesthetic, where it's almost like a stage play and the weird colors. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Until It Sleeps, it might as well be a Marilyn Manson video. It's so weird, same with Heart Shaped Box. But yeah, I just thought that was funny.
If there's anything you get when you watch those videos, it's this guy must make a Freddy movie.
Yeah, I know exactly. As far as piddly news, when I ran across that article, I also read an article where the Halloween 5 alternate opening might still be in existence. Once again, that's another thing where I roll my eyes like that's not going to save that shitfest movie.
Yeah, you want to see what they had before? They had the stupid autistic knife just stabbing into a pumpkin blindly.
It's totally stupid. I mean, what do you got for news, man? I don't want to hog it all.
Did you see that they're making a horror movie out of the Hanna-Barbera show, The Banana Splits?
Yeah, we talked about that in private like once, and that's fucking a weird idea, but it might work.
Yeah, it might be donk.
Do they have a straight up synopsis yet?
Yeah, apparently it's about a family. The parents take their kids to watch the taping of a kid show, and then they get there and start watching it, and it starts going horribly wrong. So, yeah, it sounds interesting. It could be cool if they do it right.
That crazy ass monkey scared the fuck out of me.
That fucking, I remember one day, like, when I was a kid, waking up out of a dream, and the fucking, the intro to that was on, and it was like, what the fuck? I always thought it was just a dream. Like, there's no way that really exists.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that's a very interesting concept, and I'd be interested to check it out.
The only thing that gives me pause is it's going to debut on Sci-Fi.
Oh, dude, you're losing me.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Speaking of Sci-Fi, another news bit, Leprechaun Returns finally got a Blu-ray release, June 11. You going to buy it?
No, probably not.
Really? Okay. You buy some shit, though, man.
Like what? What do I buy shit?
Like,
I own this movie we're doing tonight. This movie's great.
I don't know. Will you watch the new fucking Critters Shudder series?
I did.
How come you didn't bring that up when we were talking about movies, man? You're embarrassed?
Well, I could bring it up now because I had it as a news thing.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, the brand new series Critters, a new Binge. I watched it. It's on Shudder. It was originally made for like a different website, but they fucking went belly up, and then Shudder bought it, and I didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. It's like Trauma did a Critters movie.
I'd be inclined to watch it.
It's fucking ridiculous though. It's just fucking imagine the goofiest fucking shit you could think of, and it's goofier than that.
I still have a beef with Shudder, man. They just need to build more apps, because for me to watch Shudder, I know you say you can get it on Roku or Fire Stick or blah, blah. I don't have any of that stuff, but it should be available everywhere. And for me to watch Shudder, which I have a subscription, I have to watch it on my PC, which is not exactly the most ideal thing for comfort. I'm really dying to watch the Joe Bob Chud, and I didn't watch the Christmas marathon either, because I can't get around to sitting in my fucking computer chair, and you know what I mean? I want to lay in bed and watch movies.
Just get a Roku, you fuck up.
What do they cost?
Like $50.
$50?
So maybe even less, like $40.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look into it.
For a streaming stick.
But it just pisses me off. Come on, guys. But I guess they said on Twitter, because somebody finally asked them again, like, guys, you guys been talking about a PS4 app, for example, for fucking 4 years. Is it just dead? Will you tell us? And I think they responded on their Twitter saying it's, yes, it doesn't take 4 years to build an app. It's working out the deal with Sony. But I don't understand that, because Sony lets everybody under the sun have apps on there. So maybe their cost is too high for something like Shudder. I don't fucking know, but whatever. But
I also got Spit on Your Grave. Deja Vu's coming April 23rd.
Interesting.
To Blu-ray. And then I thought we could make fun of fucking Steven Spielberg for wanting to ban Netflix from the Oscars.
Yeah, dude, the Oscars are stupid anyway. Who cares? I don't really have an opinion on all that. I've read an article on it, and I get it, but It is kind of a weird blurred line. I get it. Netflix and streaming is kind of the future because think we watched Drag Cost Concrete that came out in limited release theater at the same time as on demand. You know, you could pretty much choose how you want to watch it. Some stuff like Netflix movies are just at home. It is the future, but I could see how the old people like Spielberg consider that Emmy territory because it's technically TV. So I just think
it's not TV. If it's a series they made, then it would be TV, but fucking, you can suck my dick, Steve.
But I think that's his argument, and I just think we're in this weird moment of change where these old people don't want to accept change, right? Because they're so set in their ways, and it is kind of weird. I'll give it that, but it's just the way it is. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I could care less. He's old. He's not going to get it. Speaking of Netflix movies, though, that'll round out this next one. The Ted Bundy movie, because Netflix picked that up, the Zac Efron one.
Mm-hmm.
That actually premieres the first week of May. So I'm curious. I'm glad a movie like that's going to Netflix because I probably wouldn't have dropped money in a theater to see it. I would have been on the fence about it, but Netflix is a no-brainer, right? So I'm definitely more inclined to watch it that way.
And I've heard good things about The Dirt.
I watched The Dirt. I forgot to say that. The Dirt's a lot of fun. It's a live action cartoon. It's just a good time. It does the same thing every music biopic does, where it crams so much history in like under 2 hours, so it seems expedited. Like everything's happening really fucking fast. It feels like their rise to fame is like in the first 5 minutes. Like, oh, slow down. Like they don't actually. There's a lot of drama and a lot of little segments in there, but they don't marinate on any one of those for very long.
Is it better than the best fucking comedy music movie ever, though? Detroit Rock City.
It's way more sporadic than Detroit Rock. Detroit Rock City is more of a narrative and it takes its time. It's more like a real movie. This thing is just, I'm telling you, it's like, I guess having a really fast paced, even too fast a pace is better than being too slow paced. I mean, but I almost wish they would have slowed it down and paid more attention to certain. You could tell they were trying to hit every point under 2 hours. Like, we can't ignore that little point. We can't ignore that. We can't ignore the fact that this happened. So I don't know. It's a lot of fun though. It's visually pleasing and it's well acted. I don't know how true it is, or I'm sure they always take liberties in those biopics, like the Queen movie and every other fucking movie.
The only bad thing about it is the soundtrack. It's got to have a lot of Motley Crue on it.
Yeah, I don't love Motley Crue. I don't hate Motley Crue. I think they're...
Oh, Motley Crue is AIDS personified to me.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, man. I don't know. But the movie's fun. Machine Gun Kelly actually does a really good Tommy Lee. But it's fun. That annoying... What's his fucking face? The guy that was dating... That SNL guy that always threatens to kill himself. Pete. What's his name?
Yeah, that fucking guy that looks like he's always freebasing NyQuil.
Yeah. He plays the A&R guy that discovered him in the movie. He's kind of like annoying, like, oh god, I wish this guy didn't show up. But it's a fun watch, dude. You should watch it. I think this is my last news bit, and this is, might as well not even mention it because the first one was shit. That movie The Boy has a sequel, and they titled it Brahms The Boy 2. Why is that getting a sequel? Was that a hit?
Brahms.
Yeah, Brahms. It's called Brahms The Boy 2.
You ever watch that movie? That movie was put on Netflix recently.
No,
it's a fucking turd.
You told me it was terrible.
You ever see the movie Bad Ronald from the 70s? It was like a shot made for TV movie.
No.
About this kid that was like, he had like a weird, his mom, like he fucking, I think his mom punishes him by putting him in the wall and fucking locking him in there, and then she ends up dying, and then so he's still in there whenever the next family moves in, and it's fucking weird. Like it gets perverted and shit. He's like watching everybody listening to him. It's been a while since I saw it, but it's like they ripped that off, but just did it really shitty.
Yeah, I heard about being somebody fucking in the walls and shit. I don't know. If it doesn't involve a guy with no tongue named Roach in the walls, I don't want to see it. But no, so that's all I got that's worth mentioning. I did also forget to mention when we were talking about movies though. In the early mid 90s, I went through this big craze of watching all these like paranormal haunted movies on Skinamax and shit. So there's a lot of movies like The Haunting, like the Fred Astaire one, and the Changeling. There's a lot of these movies I watched back then, but I haven't seen them in years. And I revisited the Changeling while I was in Ireland, and it held up. I was like, because a lot of times I watch those movies and they're not as good as I remember them when I was a kid. But I think the Changeling was really good, and I'm like, oh, now I want to buy that Blu-ray that just came out recently. But I think it keeps going out of print because I don't know the company that's putting it out. I've never heard of them, so they must be running on real low like pressings or something. And I'm surprised someone big doesn't have it. But no, it held up. I mean, do you recall the movie pretty well?
Not really.
You should watch it. It's a good slow burn. It does it really well, I think. So before we get into happiness, we're going to read a comment, some feedback from our very first episode on Blade Runner, coming from Adrian the Omega Mendoza himself.
Ah, boy.
He says, at length here, I think Blade Runner is an art house film using the genre of science fiction to tell its story. The long silences don't bother me. The film is more of a meditation than a standard sci-fi film. Maybe the unicorn dream was placed in the film for us as a viewer to question if Deckard is real or not. There shouldn't be a definitive answer. Keep it a mystery. I watched the film again at the theater recently, and afterwards I heard some attendees commenting that the sequel was better. They also had the same complaints that you and Zach had when it came to the lack of action. I disagree with you, Zach. The scene with Zora, the stripper, is important and is my favorite. Plus, I love the actress who plays Zora, Joanna Cassidy. Also, the voice that Harrison Ford puts on to talk to Zora is maybe a homage to an old film noir called The Big Sleep, where Humphrey Bogart, who plays a detective, puts on a funny voice to get some info. It sounds like you guys have questions about what they changed to make Blade Runner the final cut. So here is a 28-minute documentary that goes into the making it. He provides a link.
Oh, sweet. I'll watch that, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to watch it as well. He says, forgive this long and laborious comment. No, dude. Don't ever apologize for those, because I love those. I love the really big, in-depth comments and insight. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's one of those movies. Like, yeah, I always want to like the movies that has all this stuff behind them. So yeah, I always hope, like, yeah, the fucking the reviews we give, and then the ratings we give to movies. I always acknowledge that they could change, in the future or something. I can rewatch Blade Runner and love it.
A
couple years from now.
And it's one of those movies that I want to revisit it. And I think we even said that at the end of the episode. Like, this isn't a movie I'm just going to shelve forever. I'll eventually want to come back to it again just to check, or watch it with somebody else and see what their opinion is. And
check out the other cuts. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you even said you'd like to watch it with somebody who loves the movie. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that might help. But you also have a sub comment here. You also say, Adrian, Aaron, I recently watched the T2, the re-edited version on the big screen, and I was also upset that they airbrushed the cock. But I dug that they digitally placed Arnie's face on the stunt doubles. # save the cock.
They should have put Arnie's face on the cock. That would have made it better.
That would have been really funny. So, we're kind of halvesies on that, because, like I said, I'm all about preservation. So that's the only reason why the cock bugged me, because it's like it was in the movie. And, but yeah, the Arnie and the face thing, keeping the theme of preservation. I liked seeing the shitty doubles in that movie. But anyway, regardless of my feelings on that, we appreciate you, Adrian. Thank you so much for commenting. Hopefully you continue to keep coming back for more. Other than that, I think we're about ready to get into fucking happiness. So stick around.
Society.
And it got
Neurotic, isn't she?
like a doctor's.
Joseph Cotton and the immortal hire.
I have to say I was a little anxious that people would be very hostile to me. Mm-hmm. But we had some earlier test screenings.
With just like regular people?
Yeah, I wanted people who, I just off the street, regular people I assumed would not like the movie. Just
Good strategy.
I didn't want a special art house crowd, and the reaction was a little more unsettling. We had, there was one guy who swore he would make it his mission that this movie would never be released. And I just hope that out of frustration at his failure, he does not take any vengeance.
I too hope this, yes.
Yeah, so that was a little unsettling. There was I think a woman in the audience who said that she found it completely inept. But the thing that was curious was that she found it all so unintentionally funny.
Really? So she was laughing, but she doesn't think that you meant it to be funny.
Yes.
Happiness. As I said before, we're fans of your work, and people should go see this movie. It's very fascinating. Happiness is in theaters now. Check it out. Todd, thanks so much for coming here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Todd Solondz. We'll be back. Al Green's coming up.
Size small, I would say 8, 10.
All right, Zach. So I'm going to let you take over on Happiness since this was your fucking movie. And it's hard to even discuss. You take it. Why this movie?
Yeah, so I picked Happiness, which is a movie I watched a couple years ago, and I always just thought it was the funniest fucking shit ever. Happiness, 1998, directed by Todd Solondz, starring fucking Philip Seymour Hoffman. What you think of Philip Seymour Hoffman? I always liked him.
Yeah, he's a good, weird actor that kind of always has this vibe about him in most. Like even in like Boogie Nights, he always kind of goes into these weird territories with something like that. And
yeah, I can watch him basically anything. I was pretty bummed when he died.
Dude,
but this movie, I'll tell the plot real quick.
Go for it.
It's basically, it's one of those movies that it's basically a slice of life kind of story where you just kind of walk in and watch these characters go about their day, and they're all loosely related in some ways. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, his therapist is another guy who is pretty fucked up, as we see in the movie later. And it's basically just them in their daily life searching for happiness, what they define as happiness, and it gets pretty dark for some of them. But yeah, it's a donk film. So
Dude,
what'd you think of this?
The only person it doesn't get dark for is the kid who finally gets to come at the end. Like I think he's the only one that experienced happiness. I think that's kind of the nod I get, the innocent kid, and
even the main character was she was looking for love, and she kind of I like all the taboo stuff because she's teaching a class and she ends up sleeping with one of her students, and that doesn't go good for her.
Well,
not in the way you think either.
So maybe I missed a couple of things, but how does that not end badly for her? Because she still seems to be a pushover and a wallflower, because when she goes to confront the guy, I took it as the Russian guy's woman couldn't speak English, right? So she was just, he was telling her bullshit, like, we're not married, whatever. And she was clearly very angry. I'm like, I think they're married. And well, no,
yeah.
But she agreed to give this guy money. She was still getting stepped over. Oh, wow. Big victory for her.
She bought her own fucking radio bag that he stole.
And guitar. So like how there was nothing happy about hers, because I can only assume.
Well, yeah, there's ironic twists to their search of happiness, because she's looking for a lover.
Yeah.
And it turns bad for her. And,
I can only assume that her character died alone in her parents' house. Like it never happened for her, But
yeah, so the real fucking draw of the movie for me is as I said, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character Alan and his therapist Dylan Baker.
Yeah. Okay. So can I take a moment to acknowledge that first time you see his cum shot hit the wall, that he sticks the fucking like whatever the cutout on there, and he's like keeping.
If he puts he uses it to glue a postcard to his wall or whatever it was,
or like the number, something to represent the person he called, because he calls people randomly and fucking jerks off to him on the phone. He's one of those guys. I've worked in call centers before, man. I used to work for American Express back in the day, and we'd have those guys that would call in. You could tell they were beating off. And then, when it's really late at night where there's not a whole lot of people queue going around, sometimes you can get the same guy, like the guy next to you. I'm like, oh God, Frank, I got him now. And he'll hang up and he'll call back and the guy next to you gets him. So those guys exist, man. And he was a sad case. I don't really Was he just obsessive? Was he just a nympho? Was he just a pervert? What was his?
I guess.
I mean,
I think he was just really fucking shy around people and stuff like that. You remember he's introduced and his therapist are introduced at the same time. You remember how the therapist is introduced?
well, he's like texting about he's so bored with them, and he's and he's making a grocery list in his head while he's talking.
Yeah, and he has this daydream. You remember what that was?
Remind me.
He was at the park like shooting people.
Oh yeah, that was wacky, man. They never really explored that because he's a pedophile. Yeah. He's not a guy that wants to murder people.
Yeah, fucking some of the best lines of the movie come from Philip Seymour Hoffman and this character. I'll read one. Just at the beginning, whenever we first see Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's talking to his therapist. He's talking about this girl in his apartment that he's obsessed with.
I don't know, but whenever I see her, I just want to undress her. I want to tie her up. I want to pump her. Pump. So she screams bloody murder, and then I want to flip her ass over and pump her even more. And it's so hard that my dick shoots right through her, and that my cum squirts out of her mouth. And not that I could ever, actually do that.
He said some pretty heinous shit when he's actually on the phone beating off, like, I want to make you come to your ear, that comes out of your ears. Like, what? He was so fucking rank, dude. You know for a fact that guy's apartment stinks. It just smells like seawater, and you probably step on all sorts of crunchy socks, dude. I mean, what would you do if you walk into your best friend's room or whatever, or it was a lover, and he was fucking just postcards glued to the wall with semen?
I'd be like, this guy is fucking donk. I gotta know this guy.
Okay, so I have to say I think out of everybody, maybe he had kind of an upswing because, okay, so it doesn't go the way you think it is. So, and I think that's the whole thing is everybody kind of ends up bleak. But so Lara Flynn Boyle, that's the chick he's obsessed with, right?
Yeah.
And the twist is that she's kind of into it. And then he's like called out, like he's shy, like, oh man, you're not actually supposed to go for it. But then when he meets her, you think they're going to fucking just go at it. But no, she's like, yeah, I still don't like you. You're ugly. Get out of here.
When she gives him a chance, she's like, she kind of lets him in and they sit down and he just sits there like a weirdo.
And he's awkward. Yeah, this isn't working.
She wanted the guy that was going to grab her and fuck her so hard she's going to come out of her ears. Like he said.
No, I know, because she had built up this crazy fantasy, and that's so funny. There's some weird subtext there too with the modern day. I get this movie was in '98, so it predates a lot of like the modern technology. But I think you have a lot of people that have this weird persona and stuff now that we have the rise of apps and shit. That live up, because I listen to the newest Mac is Zach Save the World, and Mac talks about his catfish, right? So people do that with their looks and their pictures, but I have to believe that people are doing that with like texting. You go on forums and shit, and you have keyboard warriors that are acting tough. I'm pretty sure people are sexting and talking up this big game that they really couldn't ever deliver on, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
This guy, from experience, sounds like this guy hid behind a phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was hiding in fantasies, and I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's queer. I think it's a lot of I think there's a lot of people that could probably relate to that. But
their story, the girl he's obsessed with, is the sister of the main character, Joy. Who
they were all sisters. The one that was looking for love, and then there was the one that was married to the fucking pedophile. They were all three sisters.
Yeah, and she was in Orange County. That's the only other movie I've seen her in.
Which one? Which one are we talking about? The one looking for love or the pedophile's wife?
The one looking for love.
The one looking for love, I know her from two things. She was in Frasier. Niles Crane, after he divorced Maris, he dated her for a season, and she was just like Maris. And I believe, I believe she was the chick on that show Hung with Thomas Jane that lasted 3 seasons. But I've seen her. I've seen her before. I don't think I've ever seen the pedophile's wife sister anywhere.
She was on a TV show, I know, but I couldn't put my finger on what it was.
And I know Dylan Baker. He plays arguably the same fucking character in Trick or Treat too.
Oh yeah.
Isn't he very, very similar? He's got that weird thing down, that weird, I'm wholesome looking on the outside, but I'm either a pedophile or a serial killer, one or the other.
Yeah, someone in an interview asked him if he had trouble finding work after doing this movie, and he said he never did. Like, he just did it, and nothing came from doing this movie.
Dude, definitely the most unsettling part of the movie was his arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know if you find any subtle subtext fucking meaning behind this shit. So at the end of the movie, was that not really awkward that he came clean to his son? His son was weird.
Yeah, we should tell his story because it's the most fucking disturbing in the entire movie. He's the therapist, and we meet him when he's talking to Alan, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character.
Well, no. What's funny though, really, I don't mean to interrupt you, but he's a therapist that sees a therapist.
Yeah.
Okay, but continue.
Yeah, the next time we see him, he's at a grocery store, and he grabs a copy of like Teen Bop, one of those fucking magazines that like Leo DiCaprio used to be on the cover of and shit back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
He takes it to his car and jacks off to it. That's how we realize he's a pedophile. And as he's jacking off, there's a wife with their kids coming and getting into the car next to him. His poor dog. Did that scene get you hard? It got me hard.
It made me feel awkward as shit. The whole movie. And like I said, and it starts off with like his kid talking to his dad about not being able to come, and all the kids at school talking about.
Yeah, he's like, Dad, what does come mean? And he just tells him, like, he's completely graphic about it. He's like, yeah, you shoot a white milky substance. Have you ever come?
Oh my God.
He's like, no. He's like, he says so. He like gives his son some passes a couple times. He's like, I can show you.
Well, yeah, and it just never. He's like, do you want me to show you?
He's just like, yeah, I don't. He's just like, nah, that's fine.
No, that's cool, Dad.
And you can see the disappointment in his face.
He does it again when he talks about length and width. Do you want me to measure? Do you want me to measure? It's just, but the whole, when it comes around at the end of the movie, after the cops pay him a visit and he gets that call from the boy's dad.
Yeah, his friend's son, his son's friend comes over, and then he thinks like, oh yeah, I could put the booze on this kid. And it's really disturbing to talk about this, but I don't know why I find it so funny, because I guess no other movie goes there. But like he drugs his son's friend's sandwich, and He goes to sleep, and we just kind of see the aftermath. We don't know whether or not it happened until later on in the movie. We see the kid goes to his mom and tells her that he has blood in his poop. And that's when it all starts to unravel for him.
Fuck, man. I know. That was that whole scene in the hospital where his dad's like, you got raped. Like, oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane. So when the cops come to the door, and we got that phone call from the dad, like, you're dead. I was kind of hoping to see a little resolution from that. Like, oh, I want to see him fucking get killed or something.
Apparently there was one. Apparently I read it in the trivia that there was one, and I don't know if they didn't shoot it or it just didn't make it into the cut.
Man. So, but I think the most disturbing scene, oddly enough, was just his heart to heart with his kid after, they had started getting spray paint on the walls. The whole school was talking. He was slandered. And when he just, all the kids are talking, they're saying you did these things. And he just comes out with it. Yes, I did. And that line where he says, you think you'll do it again? He's like, yes. And he tells him yes. And he was like, how was...
It's completely played straight, too. There's no laughing.
Yeah. Okay, so first thing he asks is, would you do it to me? And he's like, no, I only masturbate.
He's like, no, I jerk off instead.
Oh.
And the kid starts crying.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, it's like... Is he crying because he's upset that he wouldn't do it to him?
No. I had same thing happened to me. I was wondering because his kid, the whole movie, I'm like, man, is he like gay? No, seriously. And it wasn't going to be like a South Park thing. Like Mr. Garrison was mad because his father never molested him. I didn't know which way they were going. And I still kind of think it was ambiguous up until the end where he jerked off to a woman. Right? Well, because I thought they were showing that woman take off her top sunbathing and he was jerking it, but I thought when he came though it was going to cut and he was looking at a boy or something. I thought they were going to go there, but
the ending to this movie is I think the ending of this movie is fucking hilarious.
It's good. I come
That's kind of like set up as the resolution of the movie where he walks up to his mom after everything's said and done, and he's like, "I came," and you just get like the the afterglow of him like happy with his accomplishment. But it's funny because the dog comes out and licks the cum up,
dude,
and then goes and licks the mom.
I didn't notice the dog licking the mom.
Yeah, he goes in and licks the mom, gives her a kiss on the mouth.
I didn't notice that part, but there's a lot of moments where I was like face palming my hand in my face, so I miss little things. I'm like, no, but when I saw that little kid's load hit the fucking rail, I'm like, what the fuck? And then that wasn't bad enough. The dog comes up and licks it. I'm like, what the fuck? So I was probably like, I probably had my fucking fingers on my temple with my eyes closed when the dog kissed the mom. But that whole scene with Dylan Baker though, like with the kid, and he's, first he says, "Would you do it to me?" He says, "No, I just jerk off." There's
a really sad moment though where he's like, "You think you'd ever do it again?" And he delivers the line like, "Yes," like it shocks him to say it. Like he's ashamed that, yeah, I probably would do it again.
Well, because there's that little moment with his wife when she's sleeping where he says, "I'm sick."
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he clearly acknowledges it. But before he says that to the boy, he also answers the question of, because the boy asks, how was it? And he says, "It was amazing." Right? Like, and he's like, "Would you do it again?" And he's like, "Yes." Like, dude, that's fucked up. Now, one thing I got to say though, I must have missed it because I was multitasking for a minute there in the middle of the movie. Did he fuck that other kid they were talking about?
Yeah, it happened to two different kids.
So give me the context on the first kid. I mean, or the second kid.
I think it probably just happened before the movie takes place. Like it must have been something he did more than once.
Do they mention him otherwise? Otherwise, instead, obviously, other than when the cops come there and they're asking about boy A, and he says, "Oh, I don't know anything about boy B." He says boy B. Like, what?
Yeah, I don't remember either. I think I might have missed it.
He slips up the names, which kind of insinuates, oh, okay, what? Because they just got done at the dinner table, right? And the little boy was telling him at the dinner table that boy letter B, didn't show up to school because whatever, his parents were out of town or whatever. He played hooky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I recall them mentioning the second kid. And then the cops come to the door, and then he accidentally slips that boy's name instead of the one that they're there to inquire about. So is that to imply that he fucked this kid around the same time and was him staying home correlation? You know what I mean? Not going to school.
It's possible.
Yeah. That part was unclear to me because it was fucked up, dude. It was a weird movie. Not unenjoyable though. Like, it's not a movie I want to watch again because I didn't like how it made me feel.
Yeah.
but I guess that's good filmmaking too, if it leaves you with some kind of like icky or impression or whatever. So you ever seen the movie Filth? Okay, you know the movie though, James McAvoy?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think it's the movie that put him on the map. James McAvoy is the guy that plays in Split, the bad guy.
Yeah,
and it's a British movie, or actually I think it's a Scottish movie. It might be. I think they all have Scottish accents or whatever, but it's from where he's from, and you would like it. It's your type of movie. It's about this cop, and it's just fucking just filthy shit after filthy shit. The guy's real fucked up, and it's a lot of shit like this. And by the time you get to the end of the movie, it does like make sense once they wrap it all up. Like, oh, okay, there's something here. But up until then, it's just like, what am I watching? This marathon of this fucking guy. You should watch Filth. I think you'd like it. But
I'll check it out.
Anyway, I actually watched that over the last month too. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, I've watched 2 of these fucked up movies in like a span of 3 weeks, and I think I've hit my quota. But what Filth didn't have was the pedophilia shit, dude. So like that makes this one a different animal for sure. And this was more of a black comedy, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which is why I'm laughing. See, I didn't. I didn't explain that at the beginning, I don't think. So I'm sitting here talking about
like it's a deep, dark, fucked up movie, and you're just like dying laughing.
For some reason, I laugh at this nonstop, though. I like when I'm not laughing, I'm just sitting there with a big smile.
Yeah,
on my face.
I don't know, man. I just think it's well, you know what plot point we didn't even touch on, and it's the weakest one. That the old couple.
Yeah, to me, that could have been left out of the movie. The old couple is the parents of Joy and the sister.
The parent. Yeah, well, that one's the least effective, right? I take it that the love is lost between this old couple, and the old guy is, finding some kind of like consolation with the new fling, but I think he realizes, you know what, I don't want anybody. I just want to be fucking alone, right?
There's a couple things that probably like added some subtext to the movie, like growing old and like the odds of you meeting someone when you're young and staying in love with them your whole life it's not huge. And there was a couple things like this that I always like in this movie. Like we didn't mention that the movie starts out with Joy and she's dating fucking John Lovitz.
John Lovitz. Oh yeah.
And she breaks up with him and he ends up committing suicide. And there's this scene where they're at work and Molly Shannon, the superstar from SNL.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, she was there.
They were talking. She brought up like, "Oh yeah, he died," and they were like, "Who was he again?" And it's funny, but it's kind of like there's that morbid thing that one day you're probably going to be that same person they're talking about. And people are like, "Who was that?"
Well, not even just dying naturally, but people that kill themselves. Right. It's when I was in high school, people off themselves and they were maybe trying to make some sort of a statement because they were depressed or they were loners or people made fun of them. And I literally one morning in my first period, they made an announcement on the intercom that such and such kid had killed himself. He had actually blown his head off he made a mess doing it. And I think his grandparents had to clean it up. But case in point, everybody just sort of stopped and was listening to the announcement. But as soon as it was over, they just kept talking about their day. No one gave a fuck. And I personally didn't know who the kid was because I think it was a freshman and he was a senior. So I actually didn't even know who the fuck he was. But that always resonated with me that just no one gave a fuck. It didn't matter. It still didn't matter.
It's fucking depressing to think about. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, someone like it still didn't, because we're such small parts of this bigger picture of the universe. But yeah, even when you just die, natural causes or whatever, and you don't kill yourself, there's something weird about the idea that life goes on after you're gone, right? Like we're so narcissistic where we think everything's going to stop, but no, life goes on. Maybe if you're lucky, you have a handful of loved ones that will mourn, right? That will mourn and give you that respect for so much time. But even those people move on, right? So it's very interesting to think about. Yeah, I didn't even think about that with the John Lovitz character but yeah, I mean I don't think it was a thing about people dying. I think that was a nod to when people kill themselves, 100%.
Yeah.
So and then one of the person's like, "Oh, I think wasn't he the Mexican looking dude with the pock marks or what?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. It's if I ever watched it again, it would be so I can make somebody else watch it with me. I would never watch it alone again. And if I could get away with just suggesting it like you did to me and I don't have to be there, I would suggest it.
Yeah.
Oy.
A couple fun facts. Guess who was originally they wanted actually I heard while the script was being written they had in mind the actor. Guess who the actor was they had in mind to play the Alan character, the Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Chris Farley.
No.
Dan Aykroyd.
No.
John Goodman.
No.
Ben Stiller?
You want me to just tell you? Because you're doing bad.
Okay.
All right. They had Jack Black in mind.
What?
And I'm kind of glad they didn't cast him because even though I like Jack Black, I think the comedy would have been too on the nose.
Yeah, you're downplaying his abilities like he couldn't pull off the...
He probably could have, yeah. I just can't imagine.
Well, it represents Philip Seymour Hoffman's greater body of work because he was always kind of a weird guy. Unless we're talking about the movie Twister, where he just literally played one of the camera guys.
Oh yeah, what was the other movie he was in when he was really young that I saw? Oh, was it this Never-Ending Story he was in?
Oh yeah, he was also in that Ben Stiller.
Which is funny because fun fact, Jack Black was in Never-Ending Story. He played the bully in Never-Ending Story 3.
Yeah, okay. I've never actually watched the movie, but I've seen screenshots that he was in that. Yeah, I don't know.
What were you gonna say though?
Oh, I was going to say Philip Seymour Hoffman before he really got dramatic. He was in some like I said, he played a bit player in Twister. Remember he's in Twister?
Yeah.
Where he's not really flexing his acting talents. And I think he was Ben Stiller's friend in that Jennifer Aniston romantic comedy where it's just like, I don't know. He didn't really get the recognition as a serious actor until Capote, right? Isn't that the big one?
Maybe. Like Synecdoche, New York by Charlie Kaufman, I remember. I saw that recently too. I forgot to mention that.
I saw him in that movie Doubt with Meryl Streep. What a fucking waste of time.
What's that about? Is that about like pedophile priests or something?
Yeah, that's the priesthood movie, and he's accused.
I saw that was on Netflix.
Well, maybe you'd like it, but yeah, he's the priest that's accused of touching these boys, and he kind of gets thrown at the wolves per se. And Meryl Streep plays like the head nun or something, right? And she is going after him, and it doesn't do a lot. It's just like Michael Jackson, in fact, because they never find a resolution. It's just one of those things where who knows? Like basically, this guy, his fucking life gets ruined, and they really never had any real proof. And I think that's. I mean, am I fucking you up by telling you the end?
I'll probably watch it. I put it in my list, so I might watch it.
You should watch it. But maybe it's worth a watch. But I don't know how.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say one more fun fact: is there's a sequel to this movie.
I saw it. I read it as a loose sequel, though. Is it really
about as much as a sequel as you get? It's just a bunch of other characters, but there are some reoccurring ones, but they're all recast. It's called Life During Wartime. It came out in 2009, and it's got your boy in it, Paul Rubens.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't remember who he plays, but it's been a while since I've seen this, and I only saw this one once, but there's a part of me that's thinking he might play the pedophile guy, but I'm not sure. Oh, wait, no, his character name's Andy, so... No, that guy was Bill.
So obviously this one didn't have as much of an impact on you because you don't remember it very well.
I don't remember it very well.
Yeah, this one was enough, man. As much as I love Pee Wee Herman, I don't think it would have been a good career move in the year 2009 for him to have played a pedophile after he had all those allegations, right?
Yeah, which is funny because all he was accused of doing was masturbating in a theater, right?
No, well, after that, just a few years before 2009, he got his house raided by certain suspicions that he was, for whatever. And they found a bunch of porn, but he kind of... I think I just recently reread this article. They didn't find anything, but what they did find was he was a big collector of retro, old-fashioned... boy toy porn, right? Like it wasn't nothing that was, I don't think it was anything that was illegal.
Boy toy porn.
Well, like just gay porn.
Oh, okay.
He collected old vintage like art books and magazines. He was a collector. He actually went to a dealer and shit that would help him secure. And I think what happened was they did find some stuff in there where some of the people were deemed to be under 18, but he ended up getting the charges dropped. And the thing is the person that was his supplier, like an art dealer, like they was considered art.
Oh yeah.
They were saying that he buys so much, everything he buys is in giant lots, right? He buys lots and estate stuff. He's like, it's impossible for him to have known that one or two out of how many had this in it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he had somehow skated away and whatever. I'll buy it. I mean, he's probably just a flaming homosexual.
Yeah.
Who knows? He clearly is. Paul Rubens he's never been attached to anybody. He's never talked about stuff like that. But I'm sorry, if he has a thing for collecting fucking young male porn, like he's got to be fucking a pole smoker. But whatever.
My niece got into Pee Wee Herman recently. So babysitting hasn't been that boring. I've been watching Pee Wee. She likes Pee Wee's Holiday.
I like that. Did you actually watch that, Pee Wee's Big Holiday?
I've watched it, but I haven't really watched it yet because I'm always so busy around while she's watching it. But she also recently started watching Pee Wee's Playhouse too.
Yeah, that to me, that series as a whole doesn't quite hold up for me like it used to, even though I love the Christmas special. But Pee-wee's Big Holiday is a lot of fun. And even that, though, watch Pee-wee's Big Holiday. It's just, I get it. He's like a man-child. That's kind of the character, but it's so laden with gay undertones.
Mm-hmm.
Like just his relationship with that guy, his friend Joe.
Yeah, one thing I noticed though, it was disturbing how much makeup they have to put on him to hide the fact that he's an older dude now.
Well, and they also CGI'd his face. They had that CGI shit. Yeah, they put some like that young CGI work.
That might be what I'm noticing then.
Yeah, so they did that. But I'll take it. He looks pretty good I'd rather have that than him being the crusty old fucking guy he is now. He's like in his 60s, I think.
I think it'd probably be funny to see him as an old guy still doing that shtick though.
But whatever, weird gay homoerotic undertones this movie or not, the movie's fucking hilarious. I love it. He's actually going to be at one of the big conventions we have here in Phoenix, and I don't like meeting people and I don't like paying for that bullshit, but man, I would fucking love to shake Pee-wee's hand. I'd make sure I'd have some Purell with me to give him, but anyway, well, do you have anything else you want to mention about this movie before we wrap up?
The guy made another movie called Storytelling. I think that was his movie after this, which I always liked. It's very similar to this. I always thought that was kind of a spiritual sequel to this one. That one's got John Goodman in there, plays a character. I always liked John Goodman.
Yeah, me too.
He plays the dad of one of the main characters, and the movie that our boy Adrian Mendoza is always bringing up, Welcome to the Dollhouse. The only thing I remember about that movie is it's about like a girl who's being bullied and stuff in school, and all I remember is the scene where the bully kid comes up to her and goes, "Hey, you better meet me outside of school at 3:30 because I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna rape the fuck out of you," or something like that. And it's another one of those, like, it's another black comedy where it's just like, I don't know. I find shit like that funny. So,
yeah, no, rock on, man. So,
you want to give ratings?
Yeah. So, I'm not going to let the fact that it's not a movie that I can rewatch, really. I'm not going to let that impact the score because some movies just aren't rewatchable and you kind of get everything out of them out of one viewing. I think, oh man, any positive score I'm giving this, it's just because of pure effect and how it made me feel. And I guess that's the intent. So I'd say it's a solid 7.
Yeah, I actually have an 8 out of 10. Fun fact, I had it as a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Because I considered this a movie I love, but watching it again and having a more critical eye because I knew we were doing it for the show and we had to review it, I was like, you know what? The movie's 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Take out the parents, like trim it up a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, they could have left out from what I heard too, is there was another story arc that was in this movie that was cut out because of time. Or maybe I'm confusing that with his next movie, Storytelling. But yeah, but there's a part of me that's like, should I though? Because I don't really feel bored during those other stories.
It doesn't really slow it down. It still has a pace about it, right? Because they don't stay on them too long before it goes back to Philip Seymour Hoffman or whatever. It doesn't derail anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of an afterthought. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and his story arc after I see where he meets up with the girl and he doesn't act the way she thought he would, kicks her out. He kind of settles for that other girl who liked him.
Oh, we didn't even talk about her. She killed the doorman. Wow.
Yeah, there's so much. There's a bunch of shit in this movie we kind of glossed over. But yeah.
Well, I mean, did he kind of have the happiest ending of them all? Because what was that all about? He settled with the girl that actually likes him and made him feel comfortable. But I guess it was revealed at the end that she ended up getting arrested because they did find testicles in her freezer when she said she didn't.
And yeah, not only that, it kind of like gave you the impression that he was settling for her because he had this crazy sex drive that he's been talking throughout the movie, and she said she doesn't want to have sex. And then there's that shot where they kind of lay down next to each other, they kind of symbolizing that, okay, I guess I'll settle for this girl that already likes me, but I'm not going to get what I want out of the relationship.
Well, just like the social commentary of the whole suicide thing, that's probably subtext of the depressing aspect that so many people just kind of settle.
Yeah.
They get a little older, right? And they just settle.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can't, like I said, they can't meet these crazy expectations, these fantasies they have in their head. And I don't know, they just settle. Yeah, now it's depressing to me now that you spell it out like that. Yeah, the whole movie's depressing. I didn't feel good after watching it, man. I felt I'm glad I watched it during the day, like in front of a window with the sun. I watched it in bright daylight, sun shining, and I'm glad I did, because if it was a flick I watched in bed at night before passing out, dude, I fucking probably had all kinds of crazy nightmares. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
About fucking cum hitting rails. No, so yeah, 7. I think it's a fair score, and I think it was pretty effective. But yeah, it's like I don't know if I could get anything else out of it as far as just like the shock value of it, but I don't know. It was good. I liked it. I'd recommend it. If somebody wants to be grossed out, I'd recommend it. And depressed. It's really depressing. So I think that's going to be it as far as we're going to wrap it up. Let's go ahead and pimp anything that we've got going since we've had this last podcast. I know Mac and Zach, you guys got a new episode. Talk about that.
Yeah, we just did Heavenly Kid, which is a movie that we both watched as kids and for a long time couldn't remember the title of, and then finally rediscovered it, and we did a commentary of it, and it's donk.
It's really good. No, I liked it a lot. Mac has a really funny story. His catfish story was entertaining. Even though I was hoping it was going to end a lot worse. But no, it was very, very entertaining. We also got a new Hard to Kill podcast. That's Josh James's other show. They did Roadhouse, and so that's up live right now. And I haven't actually gotten a chance to listen to that one just yet, so I've got that on the queue. Mm-hmm. I've dropped another Deep End. We dropped that one I think a week ago, where we talk about in detail the Michael Jackson Leaving Neverland. I got a buddy of mine from England on that with me, and we got another Deep End that'll be coming before too long. Kind of trying to spread those out a little bit, but I got another one in the can as well. What else we got? As of this, we have we have a commentary up. We did Big Bully.
Big Bully.
For the BTM commentaries. That's live as well. That's probably really new as this posting, and that turned out to be a lot of fun. Am I missing anything?
Just if you like what you hear, go and you're listening on a podcast, go fucking review it, because it helps people that would like it, that don't know about it, find it easier.
No, for sure. That stuff's really, really important. I mean, if you guys dig it, show some support. And like Zach says, leave those silly fucking 5-star ratings. Leave a nice, you guys, like for example, if you guys are listening to this on YouTube, that's amazing. We love it. We get a ton of comments on YouTube. If you're some of those people that just strictly listen to YouTube and you love commenting on this stuff there, go spread some of the love, man. In the descriptions of every one of our videos, we got links to, where we live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher. Click on one of those links to whichever one's applicable to you and leave some of that love over there. Right. Mm-hmm. And that would mean the world to us, even if you still prefer YouTube on the norm. I personally prefer Apple Podcasts. I listen to all my podcasts that way. It's easy. If you got an iPhone, you got the app built into your phone. It's just more. I don't understand how a lot of people will actually listen to stuff on YouTube, right? Because having to close the screen and it gets interrupted. I mean, unless you pay for the YouTube Red or whatever it is, or the music, I don't know, the fucking whatever the services they charge. I don't personally get it, but we love you being on however you choose, even if it's YouTube. That's great. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff. Share us with everybody you know. And I'd be actually interested to know. I wish some people would tell us that comment on YouTube if they also listen to us on iTunes or Google or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to know that ratio, if people are just dedicated to one or the other, or if they actually listen to both. But I think that's it. Going to remind everybody again, coming up here in July, the second weekend of July, I believe, the 12th to the 14th, we're going to be at the Kansas City Cryptagon convention. We're going to have a booth set up. And if you guys are from the Midwest or the central of the country, you guys can come by and say hi. As far as I know, Zach, you're going to be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Riverman's definitely going to be there. I'm definitely going to be there. I know Mac took the time off. Is he coming?
You better.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm trying to get Josh James to come. I have a feeling he won't, but because haven't really spoken about it too much. But at least the four of us, man, that'll be a great time. So It'd be fun to meet a few folks, and we're gonna do some live podcast stuff as well. Maybe if you guys can come on that while we're there. I think that's it, man. I think that's it.
Oh, you know what the next movie you want to pick is?
Should I think about it? Did we do that last time?
It's up to you.
You already knew.
Yeah, I mean, if last time we thought like, oh yeah, if we say it on the episode, people will be able to get in their questions about the movie if they want to.
So here's the thing. I really think we should do Dragged Across Concrete, but I don't want that to count as my turn.
Yeah.
We all watched it, especially if we can get Riverman on it. So is it safe to say Dragged Across Concrete will be the next one?
Yeah, as long as they do it. I'm fine doing it with just me and you if they don't want to even. Yeah,
so can I actually have like a legit pick though after that? Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll do Dragged Across Concrete next. That new joint with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and we'll chat that one up. So that's all we got. Hopefully you guys are liking this show too. That's another thing I wanted to add. So obviously a lot of you guys probably listen to our Behind the Mask, the BTM commentary, whatever you're calling it these days. Let us know if you like these podcasts, this Cinema Enema, kind of go in old school format where we can talk about the news, do a little bit of front work before we get into a main topic, and just kind of shoot the shit and talk about a movie that we've already sort of absorbed and we don't have to concentrate with being on the screen. And it's totally ironic, but we have a way better time talking about the movie when it's not right in front of us. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm.
So let us know if you like these. They're a lot of fun. And who knows if these are, clamored for, if they become to be popular, and if you guys really like them, maybe we'll eventually start doing more of them. Right now we're doing like a once a month thing. It would be pretty cool to start experimenting with bi-weekly if we can sort of get that flexibility and get that support for it. So let us know. Definitely want feedback on these. That's all we got. So we'll check you guys next time. Zach has been Zach. I've been Aaron, and you guys have been great. Bye-bye, puppets.
I came